Have you ever stopped to think about why you feel so connected to someone who clearly doesn't do you any good? Why, even knowing the abuse, the manipulation, and the pain, does something inside you beg for more? The answer, as painful as it may be to admit, is not in the other person. It is within you, deeper than you may realize. Carl Jung, the famed Swiss psychologist, didn't view relationships as mere social interactions. To him, each emotional bond was far more than that. Every connection, every attraction, even every heartbreak reflects something profound about our inner world. He believed that when we fall in love, we are not seeing the person as they truly are. Instead, we are projecting parts of ourselves, parts we don't fully understand or have repressed, onto them. This is what Jung called psychic projection. So if you find yourself constantly obsessed with someone or clinging to a toxic relationship, it's not because of who they are, it's because of what they represent within you. They may, even unconsciously, embody what Jung called the archetypes of the anima or animus, the primal images of the feminine and masculine that live in the unconscious of each person. These archetypes symbolize what we feel is missing in ourselves, what we seek to feel whole. But when we project them onto others, we create a powerful illusion. This illusion is so intense that we confuse it for completeness, only to discover later that it's really dependence. We mistake love for submission, need for desire. What starts as admiration and passion slowly transforms into obsession. The person we project this idealized image onto will never live up to the fantasy we've created. And when they inevitably fail to match the fantasy, we start to lose ourselves. We settle for less. We justify their bad behavior. We sabotage our own well-being, all in the name of a love that was never real. The truth is brutal. What we call love is often just our unconscious need, masked by fantasy. And as long as we keep looking outside ourselves for what we should be finding within, we remain trapped. But there's a way out. You see, the reason we find ourselves in these cycles is not bad luck. It's unconscious destiny, as Jung puts it. You will continue to fall into the same patterns and choose the same types of people, only with different faces. So, how do you break free from this? How do you stop chasing external validation and start reconnecting with your true self? The answer is not easy, but it's simple: integration. You have to integrate the parts of yourself that you've hidden away, the parts that have been neglected in the pursuit of love and approval from others. This journey is not about rejecting the desire for love. It's about learning how to love from a place of wholeness and inner peace, rather than desperation and need. Jung believed that true emotional and psychological freedom comes when we confront and accept these shadow parts of ourselves. We all have a shadow, the aspects of our personality that we repress or deny because they are too painful, too uncomfortable, or simply too inconvenient to acknowledge. And often, these shadow aspects show up in our relationships. They are the parts of ourselves that we refuse to deal with, yet they seek expression through the people we attract into our lives. When you are trapped in a toxic relationship or an obsessive pattern, it's usually because your shadow is in charge. Your unconscious mind is drawn to what you haven't yet accepted about yourself. That's why you find yourself in situations that make no logical sense, why you cling to someone who constantly lets you down or mistreats you. It's not about them. It's about what you haven't yet faced in yourself. But here's where it gets liberating. When you start facing your own shadow, you start taking back your power. You stop projecting your unmet needs onto other people and instead begin to fulfill those needs from within. This requires immense self-awareness and a willingness to sit with discomfort. It's about feeling the pain of past wounds without running from them, without looking for distractions in unhealthy relationships. It's about breaking free from the illusion that someone else can complete you. This journey is not easy, and it's not quick. It requires deep introspection, patience, and a commitment to personal growth. It means acknowledging that the anxiety, the heartbreak, the constant search for external validation all point to one thing: you are not whole within yourself. And as long as you remain in denial of this, you will keep repeating the same patterns. But when you finally confront these hidden parts of yourself, the abandoned, forgotten parts of your soul, something shifts. The anxiety begins to dissipate. The pull toward toxic relationships starts to fade. And what fills the space is peace. True peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing you are enough on your own, from knowing that you no longer need someone else's approval to feel complete. Anxiety, in fact, is often a signal from your psyche that something deeper is wrong. It's not just a fear of abandonment. It's the unconscious conflict between the false self, the mask you've created, and the true self, the parts of you that are suffocated and ignored in the name of love. Every time you suppress what you feel, every time you put on that mask to avoid rejection, you deepen the divide within yourself. And the more you try to ignore it, the louder your internal cries become. Anxiety is not your enemy. It's your soul's alarm. It's telling you that you're living a lie, that the cost of keeping this relationship alive is too high. It's a warning sign, pointing to the parts of yourself that you've buried. If you pay attention, you'll realize that these feelings of anxiety, this overwhelming sense of disconnection, are calling you to wake up. They are calling you to reclaim the parts of yourself you abandoned in the name of love and validation. But how do you answer that call? How do you start the long and challenging process of reintegration? It begins with a brutal yet liberating step: facing the truth. Recognizing that as long as you keep trying to validate yourself through others, you will remain trapped. You have to face the mirror that shows you who you really are, without the mask, without the need for someone else's approval. You must be willing to sit in the discomfort, to confront the shadows that have been steering your decisions. This journey is about more than just emotional freedom. It's about coming home to yourself. It's about finding peace within and learning to stand strong on your own. It's a deep and transformative process that requires courage, but the rewards are priceless. You won't just be free from toxic relationships. You'll finally begin to understand who you truly are and why you deserve better than the chaos you've allowed into your life. What you're feeling, this anxiety, this pain, this longing, it's not about the other person. It's about what's missing inside of you. And once you start to confront that, once you start to heal and integrate all the pieces of yourself that you've left behind, you'll find the power to stop begging for love and start loving yourself. Only then will you be free. This is your invitation to stop hiding, stop pretending, and finally reclaim your authenticity. You don't need anyone else to validate your worth. Your journey toward healing starts with you. And it's only by facing this truth, no matter how painful, that you will break the chains of the past and step into the life you were always meant to live.